For over the past year now, I have been selling AI automation solutions to businesses, primarily focusing on AI agents. But in this video, the purpose of this video is to teach you how to make your first $1,000 online with AI. So if you're a business owner and you're looking to build one of these systems for you, this video applies to you as well. And also the people who are brand new and you're noticing the opportunity in AI and you have no idea how to start, you have no development background, all that sort of stuff. You don't know what variables are, JSON, APIs. You don't have to worry. This is probably gonna be the easiest video on YouTube on how to actually build your first full agent and be able to sell it. So this video is gonna be broken down into 3 parts. The first part is going to be what is this agent, why it's useful, how it works. And then the second part of this video is going to be how to actually build it. So I recommend just pausing the video and working side by side along with me. So I think it's the best way for you to learn and also the best way not to make any mistakes. Just pause the video and work with me. And the third part of this video is going to be how to actually sell this agent once you gain the knowledge and capabilities of building this. And if you're brand new to the channel, if this is your first time, my name's Elliot. I'm the founder and CEO of ManyFlow AI, which is my own AI agency, my own AI development company where we build solutions for businesses. I'll put some client payments on the screen here just so you know that I'm actually building a real business and I'm just someone on the internet telling you how to make money online. We've built, of course, more complex solutions, but when we were just starting out, this is essentially what we were building. We were building the most basic bots. We had no experience. We didn't hire developers. We just started hiring developers in my company after a year. So if this is your day one, this is first time, please watch this video. This is going to be very, very useful for you, especially if you want to really get into it. So with all that being said, I'm just going to jump into it. So first things first, what is an AI agent and how is it different than a chatbot? Well, an AI agent is more of like a digital helper. I do have it on screen here. A digital helper that can take actions on their own to complete tasks for you, like scheduling meetings, searching for information, or even creating orders. So, maybe some common use cases would be you have a big e-commerce store, you have a lot of traffic, and you're maybe selling a product that isn't easy to sell, and maybe people have too many questions. They don't really know exactly what to do with this product. Well, the first thing that'll happen, have an agent pop up and it'll answer any questions immediately, trying to guide the user to purchase the product and make sure that all their questions are answered immediately. So we'll have a knowledge base. I'm going to cover that in the next slide, but essentially you're going to ask your question. It could be phrased any way you want. You ask any kind of question. It could be a paragraph. It's going to take that query and it's going to search in a knowledge base and provide the information back. So instead of having 4 or 5 FAQs, you'll basically have maybe 3 or 5 or 10 pages of just information, and the bot will actually itself search for it in the knowledge base and provide you back with the answers. A chatbot is more of just like a couple lines of code. You can click on a few buttons and you always get the same response back. So we want to ensure that an agent is more having a conversation and actually guiding you to whatever the business needs. If it's guiding you to book a call, if it's guiding you to buy a product, things like that. So what exactly is a knowledge base? Well, a knowledge base is basically, think of it as a library of information that the agent always has. So depending on what kind of business you have, maybe you want to have contract information. Maybe if you're a restaurant, you want to have ingredients about certain foods. Maybe you have product information, an extensive list. And this could be in JSON files. This could be in spreadsheets. This could be in PDFs. And essentially how it works is that the AI, the agent, is going to be taking in your question at all times and searching through all those PDFs, all those documents, and it'll actually chunk what things is most relevant to your question. So if I'm asking, what are the ingredients of your fish and chips? Maybe I have allergies to something. Well, the AI will take in your question. It'll be, okay, what's the most relevant information I have on fish and chips? It'll find that product in the knowledge base and then bring back a chunk of information. And then the AI with that chunk of information will actually create its own response based on what you asked. So maybe it'll take a whole list of all the ingredients. Maybe your question was super specific, just asking, hey, is the fish and chips gluten-free or not? And then it'll look through all those chunks that it grabbed from the knowledge base and answer your response that way. And knowledge bases can also be continuously updated as well. They don't have to be a one-time thing. Maybe, of course, businesses change, things always happen, and maybe you're not selling this product anymore, or you want to have new products. Well, all that can also be changed dynamically. You just upload those new documents, maybe directly inside of the chatbot builder, or maybe via third-party API, maybe through Notion, and that will always update dynamically. So now I'm going to be covering variables. I'd say variables are probably the most important thing in actually building agents. You're always going to want to have variables, and those could be very simple, right? Maybe the AI is asking the user for their first name, and then that's going to store the user's response in a variable, and let's say we can call it name. So variables are always going to be shown with brackets. Have an open bracket and a closed bracket. So if I want to store someone's name, I'm going to say bracket and then name, close the bracket. That is essentially the essence of just variables. And of course, these become a lot more complex as you build your agent, but they're very important because they're kind of like a short-term memory for the agent And those get updated throughout the conversation flow. Usually, of course, you can have predetermined variables as well. But usually when you're maybe grabbing the information for the first time, you want the user's address, you want the user's phone number, email, or name. Those are always going to be variables. And so the AI is going to be asking you, what's your name, what's your address? And it's going to know to capture that information into a variable. So later down in the conversation, we basically stored all that information into variables, and the AI will be able to access later in the conversation, and it'll remember, okay, this guy's name was this. Those are really how variables work in agents, and you could be storing any kind of data as well. But those work differently than a knowledge base. But you're basically using a variable inside of a prompt, usually, and then the AI will have access to that information directly. So maybe you'll prompt an AI to, hey, tell me the ingredients of whatever I asked, right? Maybe tell me the ingredients of the fish and chips, but it knows the first name now stored in the variable and the knowledge base. So it's going to grab the chunks from the knowledge base, make the response, and then maybe it'll start the message with, hey, Elliot, that's your name, right? It'll say, hey, variable name, hey, Elliot, here's the information that I found on the fish and chips. So variables and knowledge bases work kind of similarly, but they're quite different when you actually build them in Flow. So now I'm going to be covering APIs. I'd say APIs are probably the most complex part of actually building an agent. Those sometimes require code, but luckily with the advancement of AI platforms and softwares, they make this as user-friendly as possible. So we'll be covering APIs in the tutorial, but we won't actually be doing any kind of coding or anything complicated. And APIs stand for Application Programming Interfaces. This is basically saying, hey, I'm asking someone for information. I need the information back to me. So a very easy way to look at this is, if I go to the next slide here, I got this image off of Google, but you'll have an example here with a customer and a waiter and a chef. So maybe the customer here is making the order. They're requesting information, they're requesting something. Now the server, if they were asking a question, maybe the customer would be asking the waiter, hey, is this food, is this gluten-free? You'd be making the call to the waiter, and then the waiter is going to be processing that information and then answering it right back to you directly. That would be like an example of a very small, simple API call. Now, if you're looking at it on like a technical way, maybe this user is typing an address in Google. They're making the request to Google API, to Google Maps. That is going into the server. It's saying, okay, this user is looking for this address. I found the address. I found the web page that they need. Now I'm going to send it back to them. You're bringing back the web page of Google Maps back into the user's browser, right? They made a call to the Google server. The server looks for the information, sends it right back to them. That is basically the simplest way that I can define an API. And when we start playing around with them, you'll get a much better understanding of how they actually work. So lastly here, understanding the problem. Now, why would a business actually need an AI agent, and how could it actually help them? So if you're looking at like a real estate company, maybe their biggest problem is they have too many website visitors that are not transitioning into booking a call. That's a problem. Think of it as when you go to a retail store, you walk into the store, a clothing store, and you always have that one employee, that one worker who comes up to you directly when you enter the store. Hey, how can I help? Can I help you find anything? That is essentially the same thing that we were doing, but digitally. So imagine having a business that just works in offices. They don't actually have people coming in. It's all coming through their website or through any kind of other channels. Well, we're putting the agent to kind of just be there to say, hey, I'm going to help you. What do you need? Directly. That's going to completely change how the customer views the business. They're going to be like, oh, wow, they have someone helping me directly, automatically, 24/7 at any time. And then they start conversating, and boom, we want to book that call. We're really going to try to transition and convert that website visitor to book the call. So you'd want to find business owners that have the problem of not enough lead generation. There's too many people on the website. No one's booking a call. Or I have too many people sending me emails, sending me requests on stupid information that I always have to answer constantly. I spend at least 2 hours a day answering emails and helping people with their issues, right? So an agent works 24/7, which is something I didn't mention earlier, which is super important. You could be doing this at 2 a.m., 4 a.m., when no one's working, and still convert that user to actually book a call or direct them to whatever landing page they want. So we're going to be building this on Voiceflow. I have called it Elevate Fitness. This is what the agent looks like right now. I've already kind of started, but I'm going to be finishing this with you guys. Essentially what we're building is a AI customer support agent for a gym. So it's going to be answering any kind of questions through the knowledge base. So I have a fake knowledge base that I'm going to be uploading to this. And then we're going to have a second step here called Get Started. And that's going to be asking information from the user to try to get them to sign up and kind of finding them the right plan just for them and their fitness goals. So the first step we're going to do is go to Knowledge, and I'm going to upload a fake knowledge base. I'm going to do Upload File, and then I'm going to drag this in here and click Import. And you'll notice that this knowledge base is actually just written by ChatGPT. It's not a real knowledge base. This is a fake gym. This is a fake company. But I have a bunch of random information that's going to be accessed through the agent. So it's, It's a little bit long. It's a few pages long with a bunch of programs, pricing, memberships, things like that. So that has successfully been uploaded. And then I'm going to go through the actual workflow. So the agent starts here. We have a welcome message. This is just a text block. Say, hi, welcome to Elevate Fitness. How can I help you today? So we just drag a message block and then write that in. And then we have a button step here. We have listen for other intents. This is very important, and I'll show you why in just a sec. But we have ask me any question or get started. So we'll start with the ask me any question. That is going to connect to this block, which is another message block saying, sure, what would you like to know? And then here we have another button, but we don't actually have a button selected. We just have listening for trigger. And then here we have listed for other intents as well. So what this is doing is it's listening, it's waiting for the user to actually send a message, and then it's going to trigger the none intent. That's the only intent that we have. So it'll always trigger that intent. And in the second workflow called KB here, this is what it looks like. So it's going to trigger the intent. I called it knowledge base, but I just renamed it. Here you can see the trigger is actually none. It's going to go to a KB search step. This is essentially what I spoke about previously. We have our question, which is last utterance. And you'll notice that we didn't actually save last utterance anywhere in the variable, right? This is our variable last utterance. And the nice thing is that Voiceflow, anytime a user types something in, that was the last utterance from the user. So no matter the last thing that the user will always say to Voiceflow, to the agent, will always be stored inside of last utterance. So we're directly referencing it here for question. And then we're saving the chunks to the variable called chunks. And our chunk limit is 3. Now you're probably wondering what are chunks. This is what I said earlier as well. It's going to search the last utterance inside that whole PDF, that whole document that we have of knowledge, and save the relevant parts, the relevant chunks to the chunk variable. And then we're setting this to a prompt. So I actually did have a few people ask me about prompts. They didn't really understand the new prompt feature that Voiceflow came out with. You'll notice up here that they're actually discontinuing the response AI and the set AI, and they replaced it with prompts, which are right here. So I'll actually go over that to kind of help you understand what that is. So if you go to prompts here, we just drag the prompt step, you'll notice that I have predefined prompts. And that's actually the nice thing about prompts is when you pull one out anywhere in the canvas, you can actually select a predetermined prompt that you already previously prompted. You can access it anywhere into the workflow. This is actually built off of an older Voiceflow template that they had, and I actually really liked this prompt. I thought it worked really well. And I think they did get rid of it, but I saved it somewhere and I reused this in all my agents. So here's the prompt. We inputted the conversation history. It's saved to the VF memory variable. So that is basically the last 4 or 5 messages back and forth from the AI and from the user. It's all saved in one variable. So I always add that to my prompts so that the prompt can always have better context of what's going on in the conversation when it's tasked to do certain things. So this is the prompt. We're basically saying you're a customer. There's actually a typo here. Basically a customer support bot. You're extracting relevant information from chunks. Last utterances, we're basically referencing the variables in the prompt here, but you'll notice that they're actually in quotes. They're not in brackets. So the brackets is at the end. I put input data. I'll add a hashtag here as well. And then here as well. This is basically markdown formatting. If you're not familiar with it, this is just an easy way to separate a bunch of text for the AI to read. Basically the hashtag or the pound sign here is essentially working as headings. So one hashtag is heading 1, then heading 2, heading 3 for 3 hashtags, and it's nice for the AI to know your formatting, but that's just a side note. So we're basically saying to summarize the information briefly. So here are some additional instructions. Do not include any links that are not present in chunks, and just a bunch of that kind of information. And then system, we just have you're an AI customer support agent. And then for our settings, I did put 4.0 mini, added some temperature, and max tokens was 380. And then that ends with get started, which is a button. And then I'll be finishing that flow in just a sec here. But you'll notice that I actually have listened for other intents. So if they don't click get started, it'll re-loop back to this intent. And then get started is the next step, which is the lead capture part. So here we have a message block saying, great, what is your name? So we're just starting by asking their name, and then we're capturing that into an entity. Now you'll notice it says entities instead of entire user reply. Well, entities are actually super powerful inside of Voiceflow. It's basically like a predetermined mini LLM step. It knows and it already expects the answer from the user. So here I called it name. It's the same as a variable, but if I actually click on it, you'll notice that there's actually a data type. And the data type, these are predetermined by Voiceflow, by the Voiceflow team. They did this themselves, or you can also just do a custom one and train it yourself. But essentially what this is doing is that it's expecting you to provide a name. It already knows. So we save that to the name, save it as the name variable. Then here I have a set step, and this is also a prompt. Now you'll notice that there's two prompts, right? Essentially we can do prompt here, which is what we have for our knowledge base. And then we can also drag a set step. So this is essentially the same thing as the set AI step previously that is now discontinued. We're essentially selecting a prompt. Oops. We are essentially setting a prompt, a predetermined one. See, we have access to all our prompts, but it's not going to be outputting the response directly. It's going to be saving the response to a variable, so then we can access it later on. So you'll note that it'll actually make complete sense when you read my prompt. Here, what I'm saying in my prompt is to basically take the name, because my entity is grabbing the full name. And I like grabbing the first name. I think that just makes the conversation a lot more personalized and a lot more friendly when they always reference the first name. So that's all this is doing. It's all just grabbing the name variable, which is here, and asking it to extract the first name only. So right here, we basically set a variable as the first name. And then my next step here is a message block saying, pleased to meet you, first name. And the next question is, what would you say is your main fitness goal? And then here I have the same thing. Entire user reply though, because they're probably going to be writing out a paragraph, a sentence on what their fitness goal actually is. And we turn off listen for other intents as well here. We don't want that to be triggering in the knowledge base. We want to keep it in this flow for now. And then we have another KB search here, same thing. So we're basically, instead of last utterance, we just saved it to the variable's goal. And the reason why I'm saving it to goals is because I'm going to be referencing it later in the API calls, and that'll make a lot of sense at the end of this video. Same thing, we have chunks and our chunk limit. Here we have our second step with another prompt. We take a look at our prompt here. We're basically saying you respond to the user message by using chunks and responding directly to goals. Please use markdown syntax. Markdown syntax is a really nice way for AI to essentially kind of space out its wording in bold text and then italicize it as well. It just makes it a lot more neat and clean to read. So I always ask in my prompts to output it in markdown syntax. And then here's our input data. We have the user query, chunks, and then the name. Close that. And then here is the recommended plan. This is the response from the set step. So if I go back here, you'll notice that I'm saving this to recommended plan. That's our output variable. We're saving it to recommended plan. And then here we just have a message block with the variable recommended plan. And then here we are adding an entity, same thing. We're expecting a phone number out of them. So we save the data type to phone number and save it to variable phone. And then we have thanks, first name, do you have any additional questions for me? And then this will just save the last utterance, go into a KB search, look for the response in the knowledge base, and then basically create the answer. This is the same prompt that we have here called create answer, create answer. It's the same thing. And we have this basically re-looping every time into an indefinite loop. And that is basically 85% of the agent already done. We're just basically answering user questions off of that document, and then we're trying to obviously capture the lead. And then we're going to be doing the APIs right now to actually send out the lead to the company, to the coach, whoever's actually going to be reading and reaching out to these people. One thing I do want to do here is go back here, and then I want to actually bring this back to whatever this button's connected to. So let's check what block that is. That is called new block 3. So we'll just call this ask for name. And then we're just going to have it basically get directly to that block. We're basically going to do here. We're going to do actions, go to block, and then we'll do ask for name here. And then that'll basically always bring the conversation back to this block here. Great, what is your name? Okay, so what I'm going to do is actually separate this here. I'm going to disconnect this line, and then we're going to do probably an API directly here, API block, and then we'll connect that back to this whenever it's been successful. So we'll do posts as well. That's really important. We'll do a failure path, and then success goes here. Failure, we'll just do something like, please try again. That means like the API had some sort of error, so we'll just leave it there, and then we'll just end the conversation here. Okay, so that's in case there's some sort of failure. But now we're going to be sending all of this information out to make.com. So let's actually configure that right now. So I've just opened up a blank make.com scenario. We're going to click on here, webhooks. We're going to do triggers when webhook receives data. So we're sending all this to an endpoint, to a webhook. We're going to choose a webhook, and then we'll add a new one. We'll call it Elevate Fitness, and then we'll click save. And then here we have our actual endpoint created. We'll do copy address to clipboard, go back to Voiceflow, and then we are going to paste this here. This is the URL. For body, we'll just leave it at form data, and we'll add some keys here. So what do we actually want to send out to make.com? Well, we want to send out the name. So that was under variable name. We want to add also the phone number. So we'll do phone, and then we're going to do also recommended program. And then that was saved as also, oops, recommended plan here. Okay, plan, not program. Sweet. So we're sending all of this to make.com. So let's just give that a test and also be testing out the agent as well. So we'll do run once. We're waiting on this. And then we'll run this entire agent so you can kind of see how it works as well. Hey there, welcome to LA Fitness. What can I do for you? We'll do get started. Great. What is your name? My name is Elliot Girardi. Pleased to meet you, right? Grab my first name. What did you say your main fitness goal is? Lose weight ASAP. So that is our fitness goal. Here, this is the plan that the AI wrote for us. Weight loss program for Elliot. Great goal. Here it's basically telling us everything, why our program works, nutrition highlights, next steps. And then the last question here, can you provide your phone number so our coach can contact you? Yeah, so we'll just give it a random phone number here. And then that is sending out to make.com. Thanks, Elliot. Do you have any additional questions for me? So we're going to go here and we can see we have our response. This is our plan that was recommended, and name and phone number. And then here, the conversation doesn't actually end. We'd be like, yeah, do you offer yoga? We can also have a perpetual loop of just questions, and that'll never end. Same thing here. Yes, we do offer yoga classes at Elevate Fitness, instructor, all that stuff. And then we just say, cool, thanks. Oops. Okay, great. So this works. And now we're going to go to make.com, and we're going to be sending out this information somewhere. Next step here is going to be adding an AI step. So we'll do create completions. This is just going to be to essentially summarize the actual plan that was provided. We don't have to provide the whole plan in the email because we're having an email at the next step. The AI is just going to be summarizing the key points, and then we'll be plugging that into the email. So we'll do completions here. We'll do model. We'll do 4.0 mini here. We'll do add a message. We'll do system. Then we'll do task. Your task is to only summarize the workout plan and keep the key points. Then we'll do context. We'll add some context. Your response will be fed into an email, so ensure that the summary is accurate and only keep the key points that relate to the user's plan. We'll do one more message block here. We'll call it input data, and we're basically going to plug in the variables from make.com. So we'll say workout plan and program recommended, and then that is going to be our recommended plan. So we just click on that and click on save. So we'll run this here. Start a new chat. We'll do get started. We'll do Elliot Girardi. Let's say gain weight and muscle mass. And then here's the plan that it made for us. And then it's going to ask for our phone number. So we'll say boom, boom, random phone number here. That's going to be sent directly to make.com. And then here we can add the additional questions, but we are not going to do that. And then we're going to see exactly what our response is here. Results. Perfect. So this kind of summarized it. Maybe you could always tweak the prompt a little bit, but like this, we didn't need a dedicated coach will create. This will be, they already know this, right? But we'll keep this, which is nice. Cool, so now we're just gonna feed this into a Gmail module. Boom, we'll do send an email. Then our subject line is gonna be something like new lead from agent. And then our content, we'll just say, you have a new lead. Here we'll say lead name. Take that directly from make.com. Then we'll say lead phone number. That is going to be the phone number provided. And then workout plan recommended. And then here we'll just plug in the result from OpenAI and click on save. Put this in HTML actually. So we're going to copy this. I'm going to go to ChatGPT. Please write a simple HTML for this information. Let's see what it says here. So we'll grab this HTML and we'll just give it a test. So we'll plug this in here. Boom. And we'll run this one more time here. Go back here. Start a new chat. Let's do get started. Provide my name. Fitness goal is to lose weight and better cardio. Here's our plan. Let's get our phone number here. Just provide a phone number. Cool. Let me go here. Sent the email. So let's go check our email now. And this was the email that we just received. Now, it's not the cleanest HTML, but I mean, this did exactly what we wanted to. We have the lead name, we have the phone number, and we have the workout plan recommended here. Now that we have successfully built an AI agent, you're probably wondering, how do I actually sell this damn thing? Well, I'm going to tell you exactly how to do that in 3 different ways. And now this kind of depends on which stage you're at, where you're at as an entrepreneur, if you've ever sold stuff before, don't know anything. So if you're a total beginner, have no idea where to start, the best thing you're going to want to do is warm outreach. Now you're probably wondering, what is warm outreach? Warm outreach is reaching out to people that you know that might know people, right? It's people in your circle. Think of it locally. Try selling small, go local, and then you're gonna want to expand. So what you want to do is reach out to your family, reach out to your friends, your uncles, whoever you know, and have people talk. Say, hey, I've built this really cool thing. I'd love to be able to deploy it for businesses. And then you're gonna start talking, start networking, understanding your friends, understanding people you know, coworkers, whatever it is that know a business. And you're gonna wanna get in contact with them. And then you're gonna either just pitch your idea, pitch your agent that you have, or you can go a step further and you can actually show them a demo. And that's probably what works best. That's how I started. So what my team did back a year ago. We had no idea how to sell this thing. So what we did was just build MVPs, we built demos, and we showed them on VSLs. We had recordings, we showed videos, we sent them agents to test it out, and they liked it. And then that's how we actually were able to close a deal, hop on sales calls, and actually give them an agent and make our first few $1,000s online. Of course, now we've kind of scaled past that point, but this is really for you guys just getting started. So once again, just talk to the people you know, ask anyone around who has a business, and try to deploying it. And of course, if they don't want to pay, they don't trust you, you're brand new, that's completely normal. Show them the value with a demo. Have them try it out and really explain why this has value. Go back to my slides, go back to what I was saying. Explain to them why they need this. Now, I know that we built a fitness gym chatbot. Not everybody owns a gym. Totally understand that. But you know how to build a lead generation chatbot now. Just change out a few prompts, change the knowledge base, and you can tweak this into whatever business it is. I'd argue 98% of businesses could use an agent. Majority of businesses could use it. So this does not matter. There are so many businesses out there that need lead generation. So that is going to be option 1, is warm outreach. Option 2 is cold outreach. You're going to want to set up email campaigns, maybe LinkedIn, and just mass send. Again, I recommend VSLs. I recommend demos. People can actually see what they're buying or why they're buying it. Have all that into cold outreach. Cold outreach is people that you don't know. You want to maybe sign up on Instantly, LinkedIn, Apollo, get a bunch of leads, maybe even Facebook, and you're going to want to mass outreach these people. You can filter by niche, by business type, by job title, and sell your services that way. Now, the third and final way is doing what I do, which is posting content. Now, I know that posting content isn't for everybody. I essentially originally didn't want to post content, then I realized the opportunity and I was like, okay, I need to be posting content. I think this is the best thing for me. So that is why I put that as 3. That's the third way of doing it. It's not the easiest way, but if you're comfortable enough talking to a camera, you can really show the value of who you are and what you can do on YouTube, right? You post it once and you just keep uploading, and that content, that value stays forever. People can just come revisit that constantly. And if you've ever heard people buy from people they like, this applies completely to content. You'll be posting content, people see, oh, I like this guy, he's posting great content, I trust him, and they'll want to buy. And that kind of just completely removes the idea of just selling something to someone who doesn't want to be sold, right? Content is like, I'm interested in this, I want it, I want to work with them. And it makes your sales calls so much easier. That's kind of why I have content. I'm trying to build a personal brand. I'm also trying to help people get started with AI businesses. And at the same time, I'm just putting my business out there on the internet, on YouTube, to get clients, to get leads, and they come in through and they funnel through my business. I have YouTube as like my main client acquisition funnel. I have people looking at my videos and they want to work with me. So those are probably the 3 ways: warm outreach, cold outreach, and creating content. I'd say those are probably the 3 most valuable ways of getting your client for the first time, selling an agent. Also, before ending the video, I want to do a little side note. I wanted to thank you all for almost reaching 1,000 subscribers. We're pretty close. This is something I never thought would ever happen. I never thought I'd ever get 1,000 subscribers. I was just kind of uploading videos to trying to get leads to my business, helping other people build AI businesses. So we're really close to hitting 1,000 subscribers, and maybe I'll have 1,000 subscribers when this video is out. But thank you so much for the support lately and everything. And once again, I hope this video was very valuable to you guys, and I will see you all in the next video.